Now, I'm not trying to talk smack about my brother, but you know how black people are. They're like, I ain't going up there. They gonna mess up my credit. They're not gonna check my credit. I'm not going up there. He's like, we poor. You gonna get it. You gonna go to school for free because I ain't got no money. And I'm like, yo, you're gonna have to go up there. Hello, how are you? Some of you guys may be new here. Some of you guys may already know who I am, but my name is Corey. It's been a long time. It's actually been about 2 years since I've been on my channel. And the reason why I haven't been on my channel is because I've been going through some things. Well, I was going through some things, and now God has seen me through those things. And I wanted to come back because now that I am out the storm and I'm in the sunshine, and God has really been doing a thing in my life, to where now I can really put my all into my channel. The thing about me, I cannot get on camera if I'm not right. So, and I'm not talking about if I'm living in sin, but just like mentally, if I'm not right, physically, cause your girl has been going through some things. So I am back. I'm permanently back. I'm going to try to be very, very, very consistent with this channel, because God's not playing with me. And this is the thing that I have prayed about, was more consistency, but also I want everything that God has for me. And this is the thing. Everybody wants a blessing, right? Your blessing comes through your obedience. And your obedience is when God tells you to do something, you do it. You have to do it. So I say that to say I am here. I know a lot of you guys love my story times or just to hear me talk. And I got some stuff for you. So I'm going to actually break this video up in two. For the ones that know who I am, you see the background looks very different from my other videos because your girl has moved. God has blessed me in a major way, and he has moved me from my old location. But he did that because I was obedient to the things that he has told me to do. To the things that he told me to do, I ain't want to do it. And that's just like some of you guys. There's some things that God is telling you to do and you don't want to do, but you have to do it because there's some things that you desire that God has put in there, and it will not come to light until you do those things that you really don't want to do. And the things that he doesn't want, the things that he wants you to do that you don't want to do, for the most part, you think that like it's going to morally impact your life. No, it's really going to impact the lives of those that he has you doing these things for. So, I do want, like I said, I want to split up this video in two. The next part will be about how I got here, because this place that I'm at now, where I live at, literally was a supernatural thing. Like, I'm telling you, I ain't have no money. The credit was, it wasn't good. It was not good. Because I was being, I don't even, I will talk about it in the second part, but I want to lead up to how I got here. Some of you guys have seen some of my past videos. If you have not seen my past videos, please go check those videos out. In my past videos, I talked a little bit about my childhood. I am adopted. I know a lot of people say, oh, I couldn't tell, which I don't know how you can tell if somebody has been adopted or not. But I'm the epitome of a 90s baby. So if you know what a 90s baby is, that was the crack era. So my biological parents were on drugs. So I got put in the system literally at birth. Right? So I was already in the system at birth. I went through foster care, and then I have a younger sister. We both was in foster care at the same time, and we both got adopted at the same time. My parents didn't want to separate us, so they adopted us both at the same time. So if you think about it, like from the start, I already was like going through things. The enemy already played like a big. First of all, I'm going to say this. I'm going to rephrase this because I was going to say something that I need to rephrase. One, God has always been in my life. I realized after I got saved that he was always there. But before that, I would think, why me? right? And you know how a lot of people say, why me, why me? But God says, why not you? The Bible talks about trials and tribulations. Like, there are things that we have, it sucks. There are things that we have to go through that's going to make us stronger. And I'm telling you, the way, I think I'm a little too strong. I'm like, God, you put me through so much. I think I'm a little too strong. But I know that the things that I have went through have made me the woman that I am today. And the things that I'm also, that God is putting me through now, but with the word of God that's grounding me, is even making me a better woman. Now I'm a godly woman. I'm a woman of God now. But like I said, I was in the system, got adopted. I went through a lot also as a child. I did suffer from sexual abuse, which a lot of women, young women and men, have dealt with. I had dealt with sexual abuse from a young age to teenager, right? So the enemy already kind of bruised me as a child. So my thinking system was all out of whack. And I believe that God has gifted me, one, with discernment. Like, I was born with discernment. My discernment is crazy. But then also he has gifted me with compassion and love. But because of the abuse, it started chipping away at me. Even to the point, I remember one time in my teenage years, I was going through so much because of the abuse. If you look up, they say that some people, when they get abused, they can be very sexual, or sometimes they don't even want to be sexual at all. Like, you cannot touch them. They don't want anything. I was not this part of the second part of that. I actually was very, very, very sexually active because I thought that was like love. If you watch my last video, I talked about that. Because of that, we all know that that's not true love, and you get hurt, and I was hurt. So I kept getting here. I kept getting hurt, right? And because of that, I started changing my character. And it's so crazy because whenever I have somebody, like especially a young person, some of you might not know that I'm a hairstylist, so I interact with a lot of people every single day. So when I have a young person and I see that they're going through things or something's happened to them, I always tell them, do not change who you are. Don't let this situation change who you are to the core. If you are a nice, loving person, do not allow this situation to turn you into someone that you're not. That happened to me. I remember one time, I think it was about like 19 or 20. I felt like everybody just kept playing with me. Like I would give my heart, or I would be nice to people, try to help them, but they would always do something to hurt me. So in the end, I was like, you know what? I only got me. I used to curse back then. I'm working on my cursing, but I'm like, I'm not, you know what? The F word. I'm not with nobody, right? I said, I can only take care of who I am, right? So, but I started becoming mean, like really, really mean. And I remember one day I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, you're not that nice girl that you used to be anymore. And I looked in the mirror and I said that because deep down our soul knows, like we literally know, but my flesh is fighting, right? So I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying this, but then I'm like, whatever. And I walk out and I go through my day to day and I live my life, right? But now that I'm saved, I have been saved about 5 years. Once I got saved and God started mending my heart, because I had to forgive those that did those things to me, and forgive myself. That's the biggest thing, is to forgive myself. And once I did all that, God started building my character back to who I was. And if you know, like I know, once God starts filling you with his spirit and he starts pulling things away, pulling those bad things away from you and replacing them, you want to walk in the light. His character, you want to live like that on a day-to-day. So like, I love who I am now. I don't want anybody to take me back to who I was. I don't want to live like that. I want to live like how I'm living now. I love to wake up and to feel joy. Literally, the joy of the Lord is on my life, and I love it, right? So, like I said, that kind of built my character. So I say this because I'm getting to where I am now. Because when I tell you God has changed my life to where I'm an auntie mommy now. Even though I wasn't saved, I still had the heart of God, right? I still had the heart to help. So I say this to say I have an older brother, my adopted brother, and he has children. And those are my babies. I don't play. I'm the rich auntie, and the rich auntie spoils them. So I remember one time, like I said, I wanted to say this in the beginning, God has blessed me with the spirit of discernment at birth. Okay? But the thing with this, if you don't know who God is and you don't know who you are in Christ, you don't know how to navigate that gift. So I would pick things up, or I would notice things, or I would know things, and it wouldn't seem, the things that I know would be like, nah, maybe I'm bugging out, or maybe, no, that person seems nice. No, maybe I'm off. And then I'm not listening to my gut, which I call your gut is God. I'm not listening to that, and then I'm getting into something. So I've learned a long time ago. 9 times out of 10, I'm on it. That discernment, I'm on it. I'm rarely wrong. So I say that to say, I was at my brother's house one day, and I'm looking at my niece and my discernment. I'm looking at my niece, and I'm like, I don't think she's going to be going to school. Like, I think she's going to graduate high school, but I don't think she's meant for college. And I'm not saying that, we should not go to college, but there are some people that they're just not going to go to college. There are some people that are scholars. They love to study, not even love to study, but they have the mind, they have the patience to do it. But I literally looked at my niece, and I said, she's not going to go to college. For some reason, I said all his other kids, they'll be fine with it, but her, for some reason, I feel like she's not. And this is the thing in this world now. We know that the way that everything is going right now, either you're going to need a college degree or you're going to need a talent. And if you have a talent, that talent will make money for you. Me, I don't have a college degree. I have a talent. I've been able to make a way, and I've been living very, very good. One, by the grace of God, but because he has blessed these hands. These hands make me my money because God has blessed these hands. So I say that to say, I'm looking at her and I'm like, if someone does not intervene in the situation, she's not going to make it. Like, it's not going to, like, and this is my thing. I don't want to be that person, that family member, because you hear it. You don't want to be this family member where you see something in a family member, or even just a friend or a neighbor, you see something, right? When they're young. And then when they get older, they do something. Let's say, I'm going to say something to the extreme, but let's say you see a kid and you're like, they a little off. To the point where they look like they're 15 and they're being fast. Like they always say, like the younger, they're being fast. But then you hear a year later, they get pregnant. And then now you're saying, I always knew they were going to get pregnant. You always knew, but you didn't want to step in. You always knew, but you didn't want to give words of encouragement to her to let her know that she's beautiful and she's wonderfully made and that she doesn't have to use her body. So I said, I'm not going to be that family member that sees something right now and I'm not going to intervene. And then later I'm like, well, I knew it. I just knew it. Yeah, I knew it. I didn't do nothing. Right. So at that moment I said, all right, God, I said, can you bless me enough to where I can give her something, hire her, or, if I create a business, I can pay her $100,000 a year to be a receptionist if I wanted to, So I'm like, God, can you bless me enough to where I can help her to find a means to her lifestyle, to whatever she wants to do when she gets older, right? And I remember God said, you're going to have to basically take care of her. You got to let her move. You got to let her move with you. And I'm like, God, I haven't had somebody live with me in mad long. But I said, all right, I've always helped my nieces and my nephews. So like I have her older sister, my niece that I actually take care of now, her older sister, I've helped her go to college. Like should I tell you that story? This story was I'm going to tell you this quick story. So I have a niece. She's like the first one. And if that girl's spoiled, right? So she she signs up for school. So before she signs up to school, she's asking her father, which is my brother, can he go up to the college and fill out the FAFSA? Now, I'm not trying to talk smack about my brother, but you know how black people are. They're like, I ain't going up there. They gonna mess up my credit. They're not gonna check my credit. I'm not going up there. He's like, we poor. You gonna get it. You gonna go to school for free because I ain't got no money. And I'm like, yo, you're gonna have to go up there to make sure she fills everything out, because I know when I had went, like, you still have to pay for books, you have to pay for the application fee and all this stuff, right? So he was like, nah, she good. So later she comes out, she's like, Corey, I'm going to college. I got in. I said, are you sure? I'm like, are you sure, like, everything's solidified? Like, you have no fees to pay? You don't have to pay for your books before you move? She's like, no, everything's good. Now, she's supposed to be staying on campus. Like, so it's, like, distance away from where she lived. So I'm like, are you sure? She's like, nah, I'm good. I said, nah, discernment. I'm like, give me the number to the school. Let me call up there. I call up there. They're like, yeah, she's ready to, she's enrolled. She's ready to move in. But there is a balance of $5,000. I say, girl, how you about to move in? You got a $5,000 balance. How we about to do this? So, and she's supposed to go to school like the next week. So I said, you know what? I said, this is what we're going to do. Because she's so excited. She already bought all her stuff for her room and all, you know, her carpet and the bed set and all this stuff. So I said, this is what we're going to do. I said, I'll pay the $5,000. So I want to pay the $5,000 for her. So I'm saying this to tell you, I spoil them. So God told me that he wanted her to move in with me, right? So she graduates high school. She calls me and she's like a little bit after high school. So let's say a couple months. And she's like, hey, when are you going to come get me? I'm like, well, what's going on? I think it was like 6 months. I'm like, well, what's going on? I said, did you try to find a job? You know, because she's still 18 or 19. I said, did you still, I'm like, did you try to do something? She said, I can't get a job. I'm like, what do you mean you can't get a job? I'm like, did you go to like Walmart? Like it's not like she's trying to be a freaking, you know, like her dream job, but just something to start her off in the workforce, just to give her first little oomph, right? And she said, no. And I said, well, what have you been doing this whole time? She's like, I just been in the house sitting in my room. I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You 6 months, you graduated 6 months ago and you have not left the house? Absolutely not. So I said, all right, we gonna have you move in with me. Okay. So I wound up taking her. And at the time I had a 1-bedroom basement apartment. Okay. Well, it was like a 2-bedroom, but I'm a little bougie. So the second bedroom I use as a closet. So technically a 1-bedroom, but it was small and it was in the basement. So I said, all right. I said, we're going to have to tough it out a little bit. Like, you can come stay. We're going to tough it out. My idea was, all right, I'm going to help you like I helped your sister. I said, I'm going to help you get your first job. We're going to help you save. I'm going to help you get your license. Once you get your license, we will help you get a car. I will even pay half towards the car. And then we'll help you get your first apartment. And then we'll move on from there. That is not how it went. Because when she came to live with me, I noticed there were some things that basically she would need help. She would need an advocate for her for the rest of her life. Okay. So the things that I found out, like certain things that she would do or certain things that she would act like, the job that I got her, even her manager would call me and say, hey, I'm noticing some things. So I know I'm being very vague, but there were some things that I noticed and I said, all right, yeah, she's not ready for adulthood. Okay. The things that I noticed, she's not meshing well. She's not transferring well into adulthood. So I said, she's going to need more help. And that's when I cried every day. No, I really did. I was like, yo, I said, God, I ain't signed up for this. I'm going to have to take care of this girl for the rest of my life. I ain't signed up for this. But this is the thing with God. If he's telling you to do something, you'll be able to do it. You literally could do it. You might not know you could do it because you're like, I don't have any kids. I I know this might sound selfish, but I've always only had to take care of myself. I only had to think about myself. Now I have to cook, and not even cook, but then also teach them how to be a young woman. I had to teach her how to be a young adult. And I'm like, I didn't really sign them. Like, I'm okay with helping her, but then now I'm like, forever? Like, that's a lot. Right? But now this is the thing. Your blessing comes through obedience. Your blessing comes to obedience. And I'm seeing those blessings now as we speak, because I was obedient in taking her. So my last video was 2 years ago. Do you want to know how long she's been with me? July will be 2 years. We're in March. In July will be 2 years. So that is why you have not seen me, because your girl has been stressed. Your girl has been going through it. Your girl has been an auntie mommy. But the crazy thing is, I have been handling it very, very well now. Before I was, I done gained 40 pounds. That's how stressed I was. I gained 40 pounds because your girl was stressed. But I see the blessing in it, because with my obedience, her life, like, she's changed so much within the almost 2 years that she's been with me, just as far as her personality. The things that I'm gonna say, you're probably gonna figure out like a little bit about what's going on. So like looking people in the eye, also like talking to people, and just like her communication. So now she doesn't have a problem. She still don't like to deal with people and be in big crowds and things like that. But we are working on those things. But she has literally changed a lot since she came with me. And that also was like, we were button head because of that. Because I remember one time she said, "You're trying to control me." Because there was some things that she was doing. And I was like, hey, like, that's not how you're supposed to act. That's not what you're supposed to do. And this girl, you're trying to control me. No, boo-boo. I'm trying to help you. So yeah. But one thing I do know, because like I said, your blessing comes in obedience. Where I'm at now, where I live now, I know it's because I listened to God and I took on the responsibility and I took her. I know that for a fact. Like, I literally know it. And there's some other things in my life that God has been blessing me, and I know it's because of my obedience. So I'm going to end this little clip here, and then I want you to please go to my part 2, because I want to tell you on how I got here. It's so funny because I used to watch these videos on YouTube and hear people's testimonies on how God got them a car. I'm telling you, you want to know, this is what I realized. In order to be on this realm, the earthly realm, you have to act a certain way, right? Meaning you have to, there's rules to this thing. There's rules to it. If God has called you his child, if we are saying that we are the children of God, of the Most High God, you have to do it his way. Period, point blank. If your life is not in order, it's because you ain't doing it his way. There's a certain way that we have to act and conduct ourselves on this realm in order for it to work out. If you're saying things are not going in your favor, everything's always in, you need to evaluate yourself. That's not a lot of people say, oh, why would you? Why you ain't listening? That's the biggest thing. We have to do it God's way. I remember God told me, he said, and not saying like I was living in sin, but it was just, I wanted to do things. I've always tried to take control. You heard me, my story of how I grew up. So being in the system, like, it's like you lost control. My parents gave up on me. Like, I used to think like, why couldn't y'all get it together? Like I know some of you guys would say like you're partying right now, or you're drinking right now, but if I had a kid, I would stop. Right? So I'm thinking, why, when they had us, why wouldn't they be able to stop? Like, why couldn't they just stop? Right? But I say that to say that there's a certain way to live on this earth. And there are certain things that we have to do. And you know what? You know how you learn how to do it? You got to read your word. This book, literally, the book of Proverbs, if y'all got If you don't know what to do, you better open up that book of Proverbs. It will literally tell you, like, there should be no excuses. There should be no excuses. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you how to get to that level. How to live in abundance, right? The word says that, like one in the Bible, it literally says that God, it pleases God to bless us. He's literally like, hey, I want to give this to you. I want to give you your house. I want to give you your car. I want to heal you. Because it's not all about monetary things. It could be your health. Literally, some of you guys are praying for healing. But there's some things in the Bible. It says this thing comes out through fasting and praying. Like, there are certain things that we have to do and operate on this realm in order for us to heal. In order for us to build good relationships. In order for us to even just have, like I said, it's not monetary, but just structure. Some of us are, I didn't have any structure, no stability at all. And that's one big thing I prayed for God. I said, Lord, I want stability in my life. I'm sick and tired. I used to say I was like tumbleweed. I'm just here on earth. I'm just going to and fro. I'm just here. I'm just chilling. No, I don't want to be chilling no more. I want stability. I want order in my life. I don't want to say I want to live a normal life, but I want to make my money, come home, cook, get married one day, but I travel, but I don't like chaos. I don't want any chaos. I just want a normal life. Before I got saved, I'm like, it's always something going on in my life. It was always something. It was always something. But in the Bible, it says that we're supposed to be under his wing. Right? We're supposed to be joined to him. But when you're not in your word, if you're not seeking him, if you're not talking to him, if you're not praising him, if you're not doing these things, what are you doing? You are drawing further and further and further away from him. If you're further and further and further away, guess what? You're not on that straight and narrow. You're no longer on the straight and narrow. You're on the broad, right? On that broad path. So we're trying to be on that straight and narrow because we want the things of God. I said I want everything that God has for me. I don't want just, okay, God bless me. There are things that he literally already planned out our life. But one, we have to come into agreement with him, and then we have to be obedient to him in order to get those things that he already has for us. And the thing is, I don't want just some of the things that he has for me. I want every single little thing that God has for me in my life. That's between the house. That's between whatever amount of money he says I'm supposed to make a year. That's even, and this might sound funny, but that's even to how I'm supposed to look. How like God is dealing with me with how I eat. Because right now, some of you guys may say, oh, you look fine. Like, even just that. He's like, all right, Corey, you got to, come on now, girl. You going to have to change up this diet because I designed you to look a certain way. Even to that, I want everything that God has for me. And I want everything that God has for you. So I say that to say, check out my next video. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.